Hello, everyone. I am so happy for you to be joining me on this live stream today. And I am really excited to be able to share not only my experience with you, but also tips that will help you along the way. For those of you who are new to my page, I am Michelle McDonald, founder and CEO of Amber L, a Bahamian artisan skincare company located in Nassau, Bahamas. I focus on persons who have skin conditions such as eczema, customizing their products, and my line also includes body oils, butters, scrubs, rose water, and turmeric gel. One of the key aspects of my business is providing a safe space for my customers to share their skin stories. So this is an example of one of my products. This is the body oil. And this comes with context throughout my discussion today because not only did I have these at the national finals just to kind of bring my business to life, but also there are certain aspects of my products that really make me unique when it comes to the skincare industry. So how I want to start off is first talking about Melissa Darville. She was a very key aspect of me being a part of this journey. She herself competed in 2019 in Saudi Arabia, and she placed among the top 100. She took that passion, fueled it back into her homeland here in the Bahamas, and someone like me and other Bahamian entrepreneurs were able to shine, gain that exposure and experience. So I love that I'm able to pay it forward the same way that she has. And I hope that you feel inspired and encouraged in this video, despite any level of stage that you're in your business. So being a part of the Entrepreneurship World Cup experience was a highlight of my 2022 year, not just professionally, but personally as well. I was able to compete in both the national and regional finals. And for the regional finals, that was actually the very first time that the Bahamas was represented. So it was an extra oomph for me and an extra sense of pride, knowing that not only was I representing myself the way I want to be seen as an entrepreneur, my brand, but also my country among the Caribbean and my business. So starting it off, I actually connected with Melissa on a business venture, and she talked about Entrepreneurship World Cup. She was telling me about it. I'd never heard about it before. And funny enough, she actually wanted me to be a judge. Thinking back on it, I said to myself, you know what? I want to compete. I want to see if I have what it takes to be along the lines of other companies, not just here in the Bahamas, but the Caribbean and the world. So I took that up. I looked at the application and I applied. It took me a while to really get into it. And I must say that my previous experience of applying for grants through the Small Business Development Center here in Nassau really gave me that experience of being able to talk about my business. So if you look at the basic questions, such as your company description, what are your products or services? Are you the CEO or founder? How long has it been around? And what is it that makes you unique? Were questions that I was quite familiar with. So I felt as though I was off to a really good start. Now, the thing about Entrepreneurship World Cup is they challenge you to dig deep. What does that mean? The application questions really wants to get to know you as both an individual and an entrepreneur. And so this is something to really keep in mind. We often as entrepreneurs sometimes try to separate ourselves from those two sides, but it's important to remember that in competitions regarding any aspect of your business, they really want to know who they're investing in, not just what or how. So applying for the competition, I actually made it into the top 12. Well, not actually. I was excited. I really felt confident about putting my application in. And there were over 60, which was a big number for the Bahamas at that time. and they picked the top 12. And it was really such a variety. We had food and beverage, agriculture was very much represented there, and also technology, which was really, really good. There were two companies that I'm really going to emphasize later that showed innovation when it comes to the Bahamas and sustainability and creativity. And I was really proud to see them on the stage. So getting into the finals, I knew that there were going to be three Bahamian judges there. So I was prepared not only with my pitch deck, being able to give a presentation, but I wanted to bring my products to really bring that aspect of my business to life. I didn't want it to just be static. I didn't want it to be where you'd see a presentation on screen, you'd understand what I'm talking about, but you don't get to actually see it or feel it so that you can understand it and really buy into it. And so that was the advantage of being able to bring my products. So I came on, I picked a number, I stood up there, and I shined. I used my eye contact to my advantage. And I know for a lot of speakers, this can be really scary. You're not sure exactly who to look at. Some people's faces may kind of throw you off from your concentration. So I would suggest looking at a window across the room, looking at a wall from time to time, really trying to scope the room so that you feel comfortable and you're not just focused on one set area at a time, which can actually make the audience feel like you're not connected to them. You want to seem present and very mindful. After I gave my presentation, I got 3 questions. And one of them was actually connected to the longevity of my business, which is another aspect that the application process really touches on and wants you to think about. So the question was, you're very involved when it comes to your clients. You really want them to be able to share their skin stories, walk with them along their journey. And when you have a higher demand of clientele, how exactly are you going to meet that? How are you able to still give the same level of customer service? Now, this is a very good question. When you have a certain amount of clients, it's easy to give a one-on-one experience. You make it very personable. You let them know that you really treasure them as customers and you respect them as individuals. And you really create that level of trust. As your demand grows and your clients as well, it can get a little tricky to give that same level of service. And if you're not careful, you can actually turn them off. They can sense the difference and feel as though you're not necessarily as involved with them in their journey as you were before. So the way that I answered this question was mentioning technology, which is a great part to include in your business. So I stated that I would create an automation system so that I can check on my customers on a regular basis, monitor their progress, be able to customize their products as needed if something has changed, and still be able to connect with them. It may not be one-on-one in person, but even through a virtual experience, they can still sense my presence. Another one was talking about if the demands for my products increased. Now, mind you, during my presentation, I did mention how I had gotten into exporting. So they showed that there was international interest and also that my labels were FDA approved. So this was something that really made my business unique. It showed that there was a vision. It showed that I wanted it to grow and that there was also a market for that product. So the way that I answered that, because currently my products are handmade, was to state that I would be looking into manufacturing options. I want to be able to meet supply and demand. I want to be able to extend out into other parts of the world. And this is one aspect that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of get caught up in. We start a business, we're extremely passionate about it. And when we look at our pool of customers, we stay focused on our local community. And while that may be where you started, in doing your market research, it helps you to understand which demographics your ideal customer is actually in. And guess what? It may not actually be in your country at all. For example, skincare is very popular in Korea and also France. And so in knowing that, you do your research, you look at your competitors, and you understand what are they doing differently? What are other parts of the world looking for when it comes to skincare? How can I incorporate this into my business if this is what I want to offer? And move on from there. So I really appreciated that question. Most importantly, I was ready for that question. And that's another thing about this entire experience. You have to be able to dig deep. You have to be able to ask the tough questions. And if you're not asking it to yourself, have a friend, family, or another entrepreneur, just as I had Melissa, to be able to bounce these ideas from and be able to get their honest opinions so that when the judges approach you with a question, you know exactly how to answer. I'll definitely say this is something I learned within my professional experience from my first boss within the business sector. And she said to me, if you're asked a question and you honestly don't know the answer, don't say that you don't know. You can say that I will research that answer for you. I'm not exactly clear on the response to that, but I can check on that for you. Something along those lines. Something that doesn't necessarily make you feel defeated, but it actually shows a person who asked you that question that you are dedicated to giving them a response. You're going to give them an answer. You're interested in knowing what the answer is and learning from that as well. So I definitely say to keep that in mind. So after doing my presentation, I get a round of applause. People were very receptive to it. And the great thing about all of that is the networking. When it comes to Entrepreneurship World Cup, not only from a national perspective, but global as well, they're all about support, building relationships, and networking with each other. Right after the national finals, the entrepreneurs all connected and met, exchanged contacts, and were able to explore other aspects of their businesses together. So this is definitely one of the advantages to applying and also being a part of the EWC journey. Following this, because of the stage that I was in, and we're going to get into that as well, because we have the idea stage and the growth stage, which is two of the three stages that they have. And I really like that they separate businesses into these different categories. One, because it actually gives a lot more opportunities for entrepreneurs to shine. We usually, when it comes to eligibility for competitions, when it comes to businesses, you have to be at a certain level. What EWC is actually saying is come as you are. We want to meet you where you are as a business, and we want to help you grow. We want you to step outside of your comfort zone when it comes to presenting your business, putting it out there on the stage, and being willing to accept critical feedback. And one thing about feedback is to remember that it really is for your own growth. When you step into this type of space, especially when it comes to competing, you have to remain open-minded and think, how is this going to help me as an entrepreneur grow and also my business as well? We can truly learn a lot from each other if we pay attention, because sometimes things are right in front of us, or if we allow ourselves to take the information in, digest it, and see where we can apply it to be better. This is extremely important when you go into any competition so that you don't feel defeated when you start to get questions or responses. Remaining confident when it comes to your application and competing are very important as well. This is because persons can sense your energy. Energy is everywhere. And so if you're not confident in your business, it comes across in your posture, it comes across in your words. So you can have this great speech, lots of notes, amazing presentation. But if persons don't feel the true message of your story, they're not going to buy into your brand, and they're not going to believe in what you're saying if you don't believe in what you're saying. Another aspect of this as well is when you're looking for investors. You have to be able to sell them on your business in a way that shows that I know my business, I'm proud of it, and this is who I am, this is what it is. And that allows them to feel more confident in the information that you give and know exactly who and what they're investing in. So getting the results from the national finals, I was able to find out that I made it in the top 3 for the growth stage. So the growth stage is really about an established company that has scaled or is looking to continue scaling within their business. They have certain things that have already created a foundation for the business, and they're just really looking to grow from where they are right now. I was really excited, made a big deal about it, as we should. It was really awesome. And I'm actually going to share with you right now a photo from that experience so that you can just kind of tell how exactly that was for me. Okay, so here we go. And so this is it right here. As you can see, I brought my products. I had my logo right in the front. And this is another important part of your pitch deck doing any presentation. Branding matters. I made sure that I wore my company shirt that had my logo on it. I also had my information on the front screen as well as the end screen. I brought my products, and all of the aesthetics around it really emphasized the natural aspect of it. I'm a certified aromatherapist, and so an aspect of my business is being able to use that training to incorporate pure essential oils into my line of products. And so my products are all natural, they're cruelty free. And so being able to present it in this way really showcased that aspect of who I am and what my brand represents. And of course, Melissa is on the side of me, standing so proud, wearing her Bahamas shirt. So following this, I then had the opportunity to be a part of the regional finals. And so with this, I was actually competing with other companies throughout the Caribbean. So we're talking Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, also Belize, Haiti. And there was really a bit of a running theme in there. And as we get more into that aspect of it, I really want to be able to show you that any type of business can make it. There was a business within the Caribbean finals that focused on balloons. Now, we know that when it comes to balloons, you can be very creative in what you do. You can be very profitable depending on how you run your business. And so I'm stating that so that you can be open-minded about the type of business that you have and where you are right now. Keep in mind that you shouldn't let whatever industry you're in stop you from applying, believing in your business, and competing on any level of stage. So getting into the regional finals, I knew that my time was a bit shorter. For the national finals, I had 3 to 5 minutes, and that included questions from the judges. With the Caribbean final, because there was a lot more people and because of COVID restrictions, we actually did everything online. And so my time was a bit shorter, just so they're able to go through each and every participant. They can present their information and also be able to ask some questions. So I had the exact same presentation that I had previously, but the difference was that I made it shorter. I got very much to the point. I made sure I put a really great time frame when it comes to having the slides on the screen, so that not only was I avoiding reading everything on the presentation, which is something to always keep in mind when doing a presentation, but secondly, it gave the judges just enough time to get the information that they needed that I may not have said. So you can see the information on the presentation, but also keep in mind the information that I stated out loud, which was really informative. Now, the interesting thing for me as a skincare entrepreneur was that the winner of the previous year owned a skincare company. So when it came to her being one of the judges, her questions were more centralized to the industry that we're both in. And I actually really appreciated the questions that she shared. So her aspect in listening to everything that I had stated was, do I own any patents? Which is a question that they ask mainly to businesses that are offering products. Because are you owning the intellectual property of the product that you have created? Now, of course, this gets very technical. You will have to connect with someone who directly deals with trademarking or patents. And I do have a contact for that. So if you are interested, you can actually message in the comments. You can say patent so that I know that you are interested and we can connect. Or you can actually inbox me on Instagram or Facebook at Amber L Skincare so that you can get that information that you need. So that was one of her questions. The second one was in me presenting my business, focusing on all natural, pure essential oils, mentioning that I didn't have anything that was hypoallergenic and that it was really safe for persons who have sensitive skin, such as myself. She asked about, do my labels say organic, vegan, cruelty-free, all natural, handmade? So really she was asking, am I emphasizing the unique aspects of my business? Do customers know from looking at my labels how it is separated from the others when it comes to the skincare company? And this was also a really, really good question. So I was able to say to her that at this time, I didn't have any patents. It is something that I am looking into. And it's also said that when it comes to the formulation of your products, you may not be able to get a patent on that. Next, when it comes to my labels, they are FDA approved, and that is what has helped me to be able to export. And on there, I do mention that it is handmade and all natural. So they do understand the value and the quality of the ingredients that I place into each and every product. Of course, she gave me a lot to think about so that I can keep that in mind. And she also asked about sustainability. So this is where I'm going to share another tip with you. When it comes to our business, we usually focus on things that are directly connected to it. So for example, being a certified aromatherapist really connects to my brand when it comes to understanding my products and understanding what I put into it. However, I do have an environmental background. This is not something that I originally thought to mention when I introduced my business. Why? Because I really didn't think that it was connected. It did have a great influence on how I packaged my products. So when she asked about sustainability, I was really able to open up on how I use recyclable items when it comes to my packaging and also my printing. So for example, my business cards are actually printed on recycled paper, as you can see right here. And that is something that I'm really proud about. So this actually connects with sustainability, keeping the cycle of products going. So you're taking the paper and you're constantly reusing it, giving it a new life, so to speak. Next, when it comes to the packaging that I have, it's recyclable. And so the level of plastic used in my products can be recycled in different parts of the world. And also my paper totes, as well as the tissue that I use, is also recyclable as well. And so because she asked me that question, I was able to tap into that aspect of my business, which really connected with who I am as a person, my core beliefs, and also my professional aspect. So it really just gives you something to think about when it comes to your own business. Is there something that you're doing that is connected to your brand itself? And if it brings value, mention it in your introduction and your biography. You may actually be separating yourself in a positive way and showing how much more your brand is unique. The next question I got was about profit margins. And this is an example and a reminder to you to always know your numbers. When someone asks you about your profit margins, this is actually twofold or even threefold. One, do you actually know how much how much profit you are making on each of your products. Are you sitting down and going through your pricing? Is it making sense? Or are you just picking random numbers? This is actually a key aspect in understanding if you are making any profit off of your products. And this is something that you as an entrepreneur should know from the start. Secondly, do you actually know your highest level of profit? So when it comes to your ingredients and creating products, or even if you are a company that is providing services, some of your services may actually be making more profit than others. Are you aware of that? Do you understand why that is? Have you looked at ways to make it more cost effective or even more even? Or even raising the price as needed if you understand the value of what you provide. Thirdly, it shows that you are familiar with your sales. When you're familiar with your sales, it shows that you are tracking your finance as well. This has been known to be one of the biggest downfalls for entrepreneurs at the start. When you don't track your sales or your finances, you really don't know where your business is or where it's going. And it doesn't help you when it comes to being a scalable company, which is something that not only does the application ask you for, but also is required when it comes to the competition. It is a part of what you have to present. And lastly, the third question that I got was about my revenue. And so I was able to expand on that and also talk about my future plans of raising revenue and how exactly I plan on strategically being able to do that. So in doing all of that, and along with the other 10 competitors from around the Caribbean, we waited for our results. I actually presented second because they were doing it from an alphabetical order, and Barbados went first, Bahamas went second. And so when it came to the growth stage, because they will keep you within the same stage as you were classified before, I placed second. This was huge. I was really excited. I cheered on, and I really appreciated the support from others as well. So knowing that I was able to do myself proud, my country proud, and also those that really believed in me and poured into me really meant a lot, especially knowing that this was the first time that the Bahamas was a part of that experience. And so I'm going to share that photo with you as well. And also the announcement that was made from Melissa. And the great thing about all of this is we really pushed it. So while this wasn't a competition that was known among Bahamians, Melissa and I really promoted it a lot. So I talked about my experience, I shared pictures, I shared videos, I was encouraging persons to dream big, continue to believe in themselves, and also to join me during the live regional finals. And so here it is right now. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. And this is such a proud moment. And so here we are. I was glowing, I clapped, I did my little happy dance, the things that you do when you're just proud of the way that you represented yourself. And so I say that so that you keep in mind that, when you're out there on your stage, remember to be authentic in every aspect of what you do. Be genuine, be personable, be approachable. Allow the audience and the judges to feel a connection with you, even though for most of them, this is the first time that they are meeting you. It really makes a difference in how they perceive you, your products, your services, and also your presentation overall. If they're really engaged, if they're actively listening, and if they really believe in the words that you're sharing. So now we're going to get more into the tips, the tricks, and everything else in between. Because while I was able to start my Entrepreneurship World Cup journey, I want to give you some advice so that you are able to do the same for yourself. You're able to start it, continue it, and be more prepared to fill out the applications. They did start accepting applications this month, so it is really great to get in during the early time. And then I saw on the website, genglobal.org, that the deadline is actually March 31st, 2024. But even though I said that and March is a good bit away, I want you to actually put those applications in as soon as possible. Deadlines can change. You can lose momentum. You can get distracted, focus on something else because you realize there's a lot more time. And so if you are feeling encouraged throughout this video and you really, really want to apply and you really want to compete, I encourage you to follow that frequency, follow that vibe, and do what it is in your heart that you want to do. So firstly, we've already talked about confidence, believing in yourself, and knowing that that's actually going to be a part of what the judges see when it comes to your application and the competition itself. Now, one of the biggest differences is that this year they're not going to have national finals. They're actually going to look at the application from a global perspective, and so you won't be able to have that experience. But one of the very good differences is that the regional finals and the global finals will actually be in person. So you are more likely to be able to travel, experience a whole new country, meet persons in person from other countries, and be able to expand your networking in that way. So that's something to kind of keep in mind as well. We really want to be able to expand our experience in all ways. So another tip when it comes to giving a presentation, we had talked about having eye contact, being able to focus on different things so that you're able to kind of look around the room and look as though you're engaged, is holding something in your hand. If you're someone that gets really nervous and you feel as though you just need to be able to hold something, I would say hold a pen, a notepad, or a piece of paper. Doing this actually helps you feel more stabilized. So what I mean by that is if you tend to get like shaky legs or more of a physical response when it comes to feeling nervous, being able to hold something actually channels that energy into one place. Also, it helps you to feel more confident as you're speaking, that you're not necessarily alone. And then thirdly, I would say you can either stand with your legs together or slightly apart. Your posture really makes a difference when it comes to presenting as well. So remember to have your back straight, your shoulders up, and your head straight forward as well. Just looking really confident, focused, and involved. And doing all of this really creates a sense of presence and mindfulness, which helps you and the audience as well. So when it comes to your pitch deck, if this is something that you haven't created before, there are a few key elements that you have to include. One of the things, and I know that when it comes to not only looking at other presentations, even our college experience, we have seen persons came up, did presentations, and they literally read everything that was on the screen. This is a big no-no. The reason is because you can actually trip up on your words when you're focused on reading on the screen. When you're looking directly at the screen the entire time, you lose the audience, you lose that connection, and you lose that level of engagement. Lastly, if you're reading everything that's on the screen, then the audience is reading everything that's on the screen as well. So you lose that element of surprise, being able to wow them, being able to present something that's different than what's on the surface level. So I always encourage people when it comes to their presentations to put bullet points. So in putting your bullet points, study those so that if they see only one or two lines, you expand on that with 2 or 3 other sentences that really brings it to life. This keeps them engaged, they're interested in learning more, they're paying attention, and they really want to be able to get through the entire presentation and they look forward to every slide. So keep this in mind when you're doing a presentation. And it's okay to have notes. If that is what you need, do what you need, but don't rely on the notes to the point where you're only focused on those words. Be able to feel comfortable in your speaking. Be comfortable in your business. Once you know your business, you can present it at any time, whether it's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or 5 minutes. You will be able to answer questions with ease and be able to feel more confident in everything that you're saying. So some of the key elements of a pitch deck is your company description, your unique perspective, your product or service. What are your marketing approaches? Have you done your research and development? And this is key when it comes to understanding where you lie in the industry. Some people, especially if they come with a brand new idea, feel as though they have no competitors, or you feel like your business is so unique that there isn't anyone else on your level. Now, in doing your market research and development, you will be able to recognize that there are competitors not just here locally, but also around the world. And this is a healthy thing to do. You want to be able to understand, what are they doing that's different that I need to look into? Am I staying relevant? Am I staying innovative? And am I expanding my vision when it comes to my products and my services, or even just the business at all? Am I staying on my toes? Sometimes we get comfortable, especially if we feel successful or so there isn't anyone else out there to compete with what we offer. And we believe as though we can stay exactly where we are. One of the most vital aspects of EWC is that they challenge you to not do that. Always think far and beyond. Even within the application, it asks you, what is your vision for the next 5 years? Some entrepreneurs get really excited at the start. They think very short term. They're only focused on making sales, and they don't think about the longevity of their business. What are the new products or services that you're going to offer? Are you going to include automation? Are you going to have a website? Are you going to have an e-commerce page? Are you going to export in other parts of the world? These are things that you should ask yourself so that you not only understand your business, where it's going, is it right for you? But when it comes to persons that want to invest in you and persons that are judging you when it comes to competition, you know exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. So always keep that in mind with any level of competition and just thinking about your business in general. Another thing to keep in mind is not to use your inner voice. What do I mean by that? This means to project when you speak. You want the judges and the audience to be able to hear your message very clearly, understand exactly what you're saying, and be able to believe in the words that you're bringing across. Another aspect of that is being able to balance your tone, bring emphasis to certain words, and really connect with the words that you're saying. Oh, we have a comment here from Inri Publishing Group, Melissa Darvell. And so she says, a nice trick is to video record yourself as you practice. Yes, very important. Video is very, very important. You can actually pick up on things that you're not familiar with from the interim and be able to learn and practice on your own. Amazing tip. This will give you body language feedback, and you can track your pacing and time limit. Now, one of the really great things that Melissa mentioned is being able to track your pacing. Sometimes when we get nervous or we're presenting or we feel as though time is running out, we start to speak very quickly. And so words get jumbled, the message gets lost, and we lose the connection. We even lose what we're saying and have to try and remember where exactly we're at. So this is a really, really great point from Melissa. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So when it comes to your application, we're going to dive into the different stages. And these are very important to know. So there are 3 stages, and I'm sure that entrepreneurs out there can find themselves in one of these. So the very first one is the idea stage. And for anyone who started a business, you started here. The idea stage is for entrepreneurs who haven't registered their businesses yet. So in the Bahamas, you may not have had your trade name approved as yet. Following getting that, you would have to get your business license and then also your VAT certificate if that is something that you are charging on. So if you haven't done that as yet, you are definitely in the idea stage. You don't have sales, you haven't identified a product, and you're really just getting started, but you want this business. There's a passion in you that wants to keep this going. The next one is the early stage. And with this one, you are seeking validation. This means that you are trying to find yourself in the market space. You're trying to discover, is there a demand for my product or service? I'm trying to identify who or what my ideal client look like. And this is also a key part of owning any business at any time, is being able to know who your audience is, what does your customer look like, and how exactly you're reaching them. You're also looking into funding when it comes to self-funding. So usually at this stage, you're putting in the money or your family and friends. You're also seeking first-time investment from angel investors or even a grant, which is connected to SBDC here in the Bahamas. And so you haven't quite created a structure for your business. Nothing is quite established outside of your product or service. You're already registered, so you have your trade name, you have your business license, but you're really trying to find and create a space for you in the entrepreneurial world. So thirdly is a growth stage, and this is where I was at. So you are familiar with your unique advantage, how you differ from the competition. You are registered. You also know your unique product or service. What is selling the most? What is popular? What is making the most profit? What product really stands out amongst the rest? You have a team, you've identified them. You may even have a board of directors that is able to advise you. You also have a level of scalability. So either you've already scaled and you're looking to scale up, or this is something that you're being very intentional about because you have already created a space within the market and you have a foundation, you have a set amount of revenue, and you have clients that come back and also provide referrals. And so you just have this source of income that's constantly coming in. So one of the key parts of being able to fill out your application is identifying where you fit in regard to these stages, because this is a question that they will ask you. Now, some may say they've never heard about, being able to put themselves in a category. They may feel like, I don't want to be able to put myself in a box, but really these stages are an advantage, because when you go into the competition, you're not necessarily competing with everyone that's applied. You are competing with those who are in your stage. And so this can actually be a win for you, and you can use this to your benefit. So even outside of this competition, you should be able to identify which stage you're at, being able to understand that, and use that to your advantage when it comes to applying for any other roles when it comes to your business as well. Another aspect of knowing how to apply outside of your description is you have to be able to say what you're doing as a CEO or a founder. What is your contribution to the business? Has it started as your passion and you've poured into that? Have you sought partnerships? Have you expanded it in a way? EWC really wants to know where you fit within your own company. They also want to know about your team. Who are they? How do they add to the company as well? And this actually shows your sense of discernment. Have you chosen people on your team that are adding to your business and want to see it grow? They also ask about your revenue for 2022 and 2023 up to September. They ask you to put in your pitch deck. So the same pitch deck that you will be presenting when it comes to the competition, they ask for that in the beginning because they want to see that you are able to compartmentalize your business, all of the important aspects you're able to put on a presentation, on a screen, so that they are able to see that as well. So when you keep these things in mind, it helps you to understand that you're not just answering the basic questions of who are you, who are your company. They want to see, where are you going? What is your vision for the next 5 years? Is there a level of scalability? where you are right now in perhaps year 1, 2, or 3 in your business, you know exactly where you want to see yourself in year 6, 8, or 10. This shows that you truly want to see the business grow and you're not stuck on short-term goals, which is something that you have to keep in mind, because for any business, not only is it about being profitable, but it's about it being sustainable. Another thing that they ask you about is, have you implemented systems that are repeatable? So have you created a system in your business that has proved to be something that you can do over and over again to bring success to your business? And this is key. You want to be able to build a business in a way where you can excuse yourself from doing every single aspect of it, because you've created a system. You have a form of automation. You have a way where you can oversee and build the brand in a bigger and better way, because there are other aspects and other team members that are doing their part to build up the business as well. And so if you have any questions, please let me know when it comes to filling out the application. I mentioned this to you, and also the categories for the businesses from the Caribbean and the Bahamas, just to encourage you that any business that you're in right now can be successful. And it is worthy of competing on a global scale. So there was a lot of agriculture, there was a lot of innovation. And when it comes to the advantages of applying for EWC, outside of networking, is also support. So after the national finals, there was an opportunity for some of the finalists to actually present their businesses in another aspect of EWC. So when you look at Upend Technologies, who was looking at recycling plastic, which has a huge environmental advantage, and connecting that with 3D printing. This is innovative, it's creative, it connects with sustainability. I love the concept. He was able to present as well. And also, Nugaya Farms was able to present her business as well, which was connected to seaweed, which we have quite an abundance here in the Bahamas of. And so being able to do that shows that it's not necessarily just about the competition. It's not where you place. It's not just about what you put on the application form. You have entered a circle. You have entered a family that cares about you. They want to see you grow. They want to see you shine. And they care about where your business goes. One of the actual quick advantages of applying is freebies. So last year when I applied, they actually gave an abundance of freebies worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And so these were actually international opportunities to connect with your business as an advantage to growing it in any aspect. So if you had marketing and it came to like logos and branding and things like that, the list was truly very, very long. And I appreciated having that. And it shows that EWC wants to see you win. Whether you were a finalist or you went to the Caribbean or global stages, they want to help to build you up. And so in understanding that, you know that you are doing something for yourself and your business by applying and being a part of this experience. And yeah, and so those are the things to kind of keep in mind when it comes to applying for Entrepreneurship World Cup. I absolutely loved my experience. I really talked about it afterwards. And I want every Bahamian business out there to know you can win. This can be your opportunity. I encourage you all to apply. Take a look at the website that I'm actually going to put in the comments here. So that's www.genglobal.org. It gives you all the information you need. You can fill out the application. It has a lot of feedback there, anything you're interested in. And you can also reach out to Melissa or I as well if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about our experience. And so I thank you for joining me on this live, being able to embark on this journey, believing in yourself. And for skincare companies out there, know that you are not in the minority. You can win, you can be big, you can expand. I have had a range of opportunities since then. One of them was actually being a part of the UN Women Caribbean. They had a collaborative that I was able to be a part of. And so all of this is just to let you know, no matter your industry, no matter your business, no matter where you see yourself right now, identify which stage your business is at. Look at the application. Take the time you need to put your best foot forward when it comes to applying, and put your best foot forward. Challenge yourself. Bet on yourself, and you'll surprise yourself that you can win. And winning and being successful has its own definition. And what I mean by you can win is that you can build a sense of confidence in your brand, in your business, and know that you are on the right path. I do encourage you to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, follow my pages on Instagram and Facebook for more. We can keep in touch. I will be able to share some freebies with you. And I would love to talk about your interest in EWC. Thank you so much for watching.